You are in North Carolina. Okay. Your ADHD autistic fourth grader is in self-contained behavior support classroom. After being highly successful in this environment last year, we've had a severe uptick in behaviors this year, resulting in 16 suspensions. You emailed in September the date of his 10th suspension, requesting a manifestation, was denied, saying it was not yet warranted. We had a meeting to update his behavior intervention plan, and that was it. A few days later, he got a 3-day suspension and the scheduled manifestation determination meeting. The MDR is tomorrow, and he is on day 16 suspension. And at what point does this become a legal issue? They send him home with math and reading printouts, but nothing for science and social studies. Well, first of all, they shouldn't be sending him home with anything if he's in a self-contained behavior classroom. And most of the schools are getting away from homework because there's no scientific proof that there's any benefit at all. And so if they're sending home reading and math printouts for you to do, then what's he doing up there? That's the big question. That's what I would be wondering, because he is in a self-contained environment all day, and it's not a traditional general education classroom schedule. And so at that point, that leads me to think, what is different this year from last year? If he was successful last year, but now you're seeing an uptick in behavioral responses, that tells me that something within the environment's different, okay? And that's where you need to sit there and start doing some deep diving and questions. Was there a staff change? Meaning the teacher may be the same, but are there different paras? Is there different makeup of peers to where there may be some aspects with regards to, I'm not necessarily going to say relationships, but interaction within the peers that could be grading to your son and vice versa, because I've had that with my own child in her self-contained environments, to where my daughter's sensory issues and another child that has autism similar to my daughter's with regards to stemming and vocalizations, they just did not get along. And, you know, so we had to sit there and deal with that issue. In order to serve everybody's benefit, from the staff to both children, okay? So it is an investigatory process to find out what aspects of your child's school day has been changed from last year, what's different. And it could be the schedule of services and what they're doing as far as the routines. It could be that there's more unstructured time and less structured time, and so therefore the predictability and the consistency of schedule is off, if your child prefers that. So it's all having an IEP meeting and getting to the bottom of what changes were made this year from last year, and holding it up and in a column. What is different? And if it is staffing, it's going to be the staffing that's the problem, guys. And they haven't been trained. And so therefore, and also if there's 16 suspensions, then the behavior plan's not working. But the behavior plan, after about 3 suspensions, it tells me that the behavior plan's not working. And you could have a great behavior plan, but if the behavior plan is the thing that's good and the implementation bad, then it's not working. It's the same thing. You just got to sit there and decide which one it is. Do you have a crappy behavior plan, or do you have crappy staff that haven't been trained? Ignorant, not necessarily crappy staff, but ignorant staff. You could have crappy staff. But it's either one or the other if your behavior plan isn't working. And who's the one that developed it, and who's training on it? And it needs to be competency-based training. Everybody needs to understand it and follow it consistently. There has to be a correct understanding of that behavior plan in order for it to work effectively. Now you start with a functional behavior assessment. And they go, well, we did one 2 years ago or last year. It doesn't matter. There's an uptick in behavior because something has changed in the environment, thus creating different triggers. So you need a new functional behavior assessment. And yes, it became illegal once they hit that 10 days. It doesn't matter what environment your son is in. If they did out of school suspension for 10 days, manifestation determination. And the reason you got one the second time, or because you reminded them, or they were like, we got busted. So then the next suspension, that was for 3 days, they were like, hey, by the way, we're going to have an MDR. Because you busted them, okay? Hang tight. We may have help for you soon in North Carolina.